Hey everybody, it's me, Remy, the comic book poser, and I'm here today to welcome you to Enter the Poserverse. As of the time of recording, we are just 11 subscribers away from activating the 1,250 subscriber giveaway. So, to get some more people on board, and to find out what we're reading this week, you'll have to check it out after this.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Alright, as always, a couple of quick announcements. Number one, sorry, no video yesterday. Was busy with graduation stuff all weekend, both for my students and kids who live around me in the neighborhood that are real cool to my kids. So, sorry, it happens. Back for the daily grind starting now. Number two, don't forget, Thursday, 8:15 Central, Whatnot sale this time. Selling a bunch of pops for probably like $5. Come steal pops from me. You're basically getting them for cheap so I can clear out another space for a short box. And then after that, we are doing Shop Talk at 9:30 Central, where I will highlight the 3 books that we have selected to chat about this week. So to see what they are, let's go. Alright. After 2 relatively light weeks in a row, I think my pull list is way back to its absurd, overly large size. And I think some of that is because you might see 7,000 Savage Avengers covers pop up. Starting off the week is Catwoman number 43. Apparently I don't have any A or B books this week, so cool. I've been enjoying this run that, I still am excited that I picked it up because of a recommendation just based on a Jenny Frison cover from my man Bruce over at Bruce and Stephanie Comics. I've been enjoying learning about Catwoman's adventures outside of a Batman book, and it's been a pretty interesting ride. And we get a Catwoman Harley Quinn adventure, which we know those are always going to get out of hand, so I'm excited. Number 2 from Dark Horse is Count Crowley Amateur Midnight Monster Hunter number 2. I talked about this before issue number 1 came out. This is the second volume of a series by David Dastmalchian, where a person who takes over a midnight B-movie television show on local access actually becomes a monster hunter. It's terrifying at times, it's really hilarious and weird at times. This is a book that you should definitely pick up volume 1 and trade, and volume number 2 has been enjoyable after the first issue, that I get a lot of the same pleasurable vibes like I did from the first arc. Also from Dark Horse is Vox Machina Origins number 6. I've been picking these up in singles just to have them, and I will read it all in trade, that I still gotta finish the Vox Machina library edition that's back there on the shelf. Next up is Fantastic Four number 43. I've had an on-again, off-again love affair with the Fantastic Four. I'm mostly picking this up because I was intrigued by the Reckoning War event that had just started, and a certain author of some Savage Avengers may have released on Twitter that he's got, I think he said 2 or 3 issues of Fantastic Four coming out in the near future. So, if I'm going to support one of my favorites, who we'll talk about in a hot second, might as well figure out if I'm going to still have an on-again, off-again relationship with the Fantastic Four. Next up from DC is Flash 782. We're seeing what impact the actions of Wally may have on his children, on the Speed Force, and all of these different things. So I've been really intrigued by this, that out of, the entire run of the Flash that I've been reading, that I think for almost 2 full years now, I don't think that there's been a massive dip in a particular storyline or writer, that it's just been consistently decent, and I've enjoyed getting to get into the world of the Flash. Next up from Source Point Press is Good Boy Director's Cut number 1. You have heard me talk about my love of this book and Source Point Press, but I am a huge sucker for Director's Cut books, especially because if they have multiple Director's Cuts in a series, you can get more original art, more pieces of the script, more insight into what the creative team had going on than you do in, the standard back matter of a trade paperback. And that I have loved every Director's Cut or issue number 1, 2, or 3 sketchbook that I've picked up. They've been super fun. One of the books that I'm probably the most excited for this week is Hit Me number 3. That this is Christophalos and Priscilla Petrates, we are seeing what is happening for Lulu. She has escaped yet again the, kind of S&M session that then turned into a robbery that is now turned into, like, a triple homicide. I'm still loving this from the vibes that these women are throwing down. That this has probably been one of the most interesting and sex or kink positive books that I've read since Tina Horn's Safe Sex came out, like a year and a half ago now. But it's fun, it's huge action, the art is absolutely stunning, that this pair is putting out an absolute home run for AWA. Next up we got House of Slaughter number 6. This focuses on Edwin, a Scarlet Mask. And I think this is going to be the first time we get a deep dive into the Scarlet Masks from the Order of St. George in either Something is Killing the Children or the House of Slaughter series. So I'm intrigued to see how this adds another layer to the story, especially as we've started to see a little bit of cautious resolution to Aaron's storyline with his past boyfriend who attempted to kill the dragon. Next up, this is one of our 3 featured books from Shop Talk this week. From Image Comics, it's I Hate This Place number 1. I'm sad because I'm pretty sure the original solicitation title of this series was Fuck This Place, and I remember talking to the kids in my comic book club about it. But if you're a fan of Gideon Falls and Homesick Pilots, you like some kind of creepy, horror-ish story, then this is for you. I'm excited about this book, but the reason we are on why this book makes our discussion list of the week is because Jelly has talked about how he's kind of getting tired of seeing this trope show up all over the place. Or if this is going to be somebody who does this trope justice by turning it on its head, making it its own, and if he's, annoyed by the series or not. So, we know I'm excited, so we'll see if it lives up to my bar of excitement, and we know that Jelly is cautiously optimistic, so we'll see what his take on the series is. Next up is Immortal X-Men number 2. Again, I am liking as the team is kind of reforming, as they're having to fill the void of Magneto being on the Quiet Council, and seeing how Selene is kind of getting there to shake everything up. I'm excited with this progression of Immortal X-Men. I'm also super excited for this Nodo Quiet Council variant, because anytime we get a super amazing Mr. Sinister cover, you know that I'm just going to drool over it, especially if it's just a regular cover and not an exclusive or an incentive that I've got to pay exorbitantly out of pocket for. Next up is Kaiju Score Steal from the Gods number 2. I really enjoyed issue number 1 because we kind of got a leap forward after Michelle, kind of survived the events of the first arc and, has said that she was going to step away from the, the monster heist game, which that phrase is still weird as shit to me, but I enjoy this because I'm really liking the vibe of the first series as we get a new cast of characters. The next book up from Image Skybound is Ninjago Garmadon number 2. The only thing that makes me skeptical about whether or not I'm really getting this book on Wednesday is that it says Art Not Final on the cover. And we talked about this when issue number 1 came out. This is not for me. It's for Toby, who is learning to read, who loves Ninjago, who is obsessed. Like, he'll run around playing all of his make-up Ninjago games because he's my creative kinesthetic 6-year-old. So I think one of the things that he and I talked about doing was doing a read and review session with each issue of Garmadon, and he's excited to do that because his last day of school is in like 10 days? It's in like a week. And then I'm going to have a kindergartner and a first grader, and I'm feeling older by the day. Next up is New Masters number 4 from Image Comics. Again, this is the Nigerian pair of brothers who won a creators grant and were able to put this book out. I have been loving their Afro-futurist vision, their depiction of, continued hope in the face of dealing with all kinds of shit in the world that can bring them down, and the art in this book is absolutely breathtaking. If you have not picked up any of these issues of New Masters, you will regret it if you don't buy it in trade. Next up, another Marvel book, New Mutants number 25. I think it's been a second since we've gotten New Mutants. This is one of the ones I'm way behind on, but we see it's the start of a new arc. I love magic. Apparently she's got to do some laborious things, so we'll see what's up. An item next is Reign number 5 from Image Comics. You all know how hard I am of a hack for this series, that I believe all 4 issues have made it to be the pick of the week from their respective week of release. So, will its dominance continue? And I think this is the final issue, and that makes me sad. I know there's apparently been some controversy surrounding issue number 4. I didn't read a lot about it, and I'm probably going to go check back in against it, because I know there were some people who were not happy in the way that it dealt with the homophobia of one of the neighbors. I don't know. I figured that I would check all of that out once the series wrapped, in the same way that, you know, I read literary analysis or literary criticism of works of literature once I finished reading the work. So, we'll see if that changes my judgment on it. But for now, super excited. Next up, the book that we have been waiting for since May the 4th, and then May the 11th, and now May the 18th, is Marvel's Savage Avengers number 1. We interviewed David Pepos right around the FOC deadline about what he was doing with this team, and he super hyped us up on this book that I have been reading, Jerry Dugan's Jerry Dugan's run on Savage Avengers before then. I'm excited to see what he does with the new team and how well it holds together, and we'll see if I get all the different variants that I'm going for. I don't know if this Miko Swain set of variants were an exclusive. I'm going to assume it is, and that I'm going to have to go spend some money on this Weapon H Wolverine homage cover, but god, that art is amazing. Yeah, but I'm literally getting all the Savage Avengers covers. Alright. Next new book from Marvel Comics is Silk number 5. I know that a couple of us have gone back and forth with whether or not there's an age issue with this book, that, you know, this definitely has more of a YA feel for it than any other Marvel title, because, you know, Silk, like Miles Morales, is particularly young. I have been enjoying this, especially with the idea that a witch is trying to suck all of the youth out of Cindy Moon, so I think that this arc has been as enjoyable to me as the last one. Next up from Image is Slumber number 3. This book, again, has been amazing. We are dealing with a serial killer and a dream murderer. I'm pretty sure that at the end of issue number 3, like, whatever the ethereal evil force that they were dealing with, like, crawled out of a person, was like, I'm gonna kill all of you. I want to see how that resolves. I will also say that this is in the same vein that we talk about poetic stabbings whenever we look at David Hazan and Shane Connery Volk's Nottingham. I really feel like there is a beauty to all of the gore that happens in this book. Like, the art, the choice of color palette, and everything that is going down in this series is amazing for as creepy murder hobo-y stab as it is. From Mad Cave Studios, we're getting Speed Republic number 4. I have been enjoying this series since I got to preview number 1 last summer, I don't know, where we're seeing everybody who is dealing with basically a less murdery version with different scandals of Death Race. So I'm excited to get this one that I just read issue number 3 that I ended up falling a little behind, so we'll see if it makes the pick of the week this week. Next up, Spider-Punk number 2. I have been super hyped about this book because I just really kind of like the take on Spider-Punk running a show. Now we get what Taskmaster looks like in this universe, what connection it may have to Norman Osborn, that I really enjoyed the difference in the writing of a Spider-Man story from this issue number 1. So we'll see if that stays alive in issue number. I forgot to mention, our second pick of the week to talk about on Shop Talk this week is Savage Avengers number 1, because the question that we will ask is, David set a high bar in how much he hyped us up for this book. So the question is, does he deliver? We're all pretty sure the answer is yes, but we're going to fact check him. All right, next up is Thor number 25. This is the second part of the Banner War event that started last week, that you had Hulk versus Thor. That book was beautiful in the way that it tried to tell the fight story in a bunch of different mediums in terms of playing on classic battle and classic video game tropes, that it was kind of fun. I think the order is for this event is literally the alpha book that came out last week, and then it ping-pongs back and forth between the next, 4 total issues of Thor and Hulk. I don't remember. I'll probably remember to put the right thing up there now. Next up from IDW is another TMNT Best Of. This is Best of the Rat King, who has been a very interesting presence throughout the entirety of the history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The reason why Rat King is getting his own book now is because the Armageddon game event kicks off in, it's either the end of June or beginning of July, that you got a pretty interesting preview of that in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Free Comic Book Day book. Our third focal point for this Thursday's Shop Talk is A Town Called Terror number 2 from Image Comics. We really loved how, spooky weird this is. That, we like all kinds of different horror books from our love of anything that James Tynion is touching in terms of his spooky books. We love talking about the AWA horror books. We love talking about Slumber. This is a book that we missed talking about issue number 1 in April because of all the interviews with creators that we did, and Jelly and I loved it. So we're going to talk about the premise of the series and probably why we love issue number 2 as much as, if not more than, issue number 1. And then we close the week with some Marvel books. Venom Lethal Protector number 2. I like the direction that they took in kind of bringing the origins of Venom's solo series from the 90s back to life. Wolverine number 21. I like what is just happening with this Wolverine and Deadpool story. It's fun. It's shit-talky. I like it. Patch number 2. I like the pre-Wolverine Wolverine, like when he was known as Patch. I like how this kind of has the jokes about Wolverine. I still really love the Scotty Young cover from issue number 1. But I like that one of the most influential writers of Wolverine is back, writing a Wolverine book again, telling us a new direction of a Wolverine story. And then our last 3 books are excellent. This is going to be dope because we love the writer and artist on this. X-Force number 28. We get to see Kid Omega get to be big, bad, and powerful and fight back. And then we get X-Men Red number 2, where we get to see more of this planet-sized X-Men event playing its way out as we are seeing the bigger intergalactic consequences of mutant domination. I'm very excited because we know that Thunderbird is going to show up in X-Men Red number 3, that we got that from the giant size, 2 weeks ago? But hell of a week, good God, 40 comics this week. I'm going to guess I don't end up getting all of those covers for Savage Avengers that I added a couple of them late, and my LCS owner will probably make fun of me for adding them to my pull list way too late. What do you think? That list is huge. Is there anything that I'm missing out on? I know if you're here in the premiere chat, you're letting me know. If you are watching this on the rewind, let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget, we are giving away a poser pile on Thursday night. All you have to do is comment in this video below. You get an entry to win a big stack of comics that hopefully I get to go to my shop before New Comic Book Day, hopefully I get to go to my shop before the show, unlike last week where I was just too busy, and the poster pile. At least we know that Shop and Drop, who won it last week, is getting this Sold Twice Penny Dreadful. So Don't forget to come check us out on Thursday night on Shop Talk, where I think Soul Twice is live drawing again. Maybe I'll give away another Souls covers. Maybe I'll give away other things in the poster pile. Who knows? But hopefully we get 11 subscribers between now and Thursday. And if we do, then I'll show off all of the giveaway items and trigger the timeline for the giveaway. So as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. And have a good one.
Hey, little girl, did you want to know a secret?
I got 5 on it. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.